It's barely 1 week that a federal high court granted bail to the senator representing Borno South Ali Ndume over his shortership for former pension reform task team chairman Abdulrasheed Maina, who had jumped bail. But now the same court has ordered the remand of a former chairman of the defunct pension reform task team at the Kuje Correctional Center pending the conclusion of his trial. The order was issued by Justice Okon Abeng at the resumed trial on Friday. The counsel representing Mr. Maina in the proceeding formally withdrew his representation, while the new counsel engaged by Mr. Maina asked for a short adjournment to enable him study the facts of the case. Justice Abeng granted the application for adjournment on the grounds that the defendant, who is presumed innocent until proven guilty, is entitled to legal representation. He subsequently adjourned the case to the 8th of December for the continuation of trial. Mr. Maina's trial had been holding in absentia after he jumped bail and ran off to the Niger Republic. A high court in Abuja, however, declared him wanted, and he was subsequently arrested in Niamey, Niger Republic. The embattled former chairman of the defunct pension reform task team was extradited to Nigeria on Thursday to continue to face his money laundering trial. A witness on Thursday told an Abuja High Court that Mr. Maina bought a property worth $2 million in the Jabi area of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Alleged money laundering, court asked the FCC to comply with orders in Dezane's trial. The prosecution witness, Rukoya Ibrahim, speaking before Justice Okon Abeng, says that the defendant also acquired properties in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, as well as the United States. Ibrahim, who is the prosecution witness and a detective of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, told the court that a prosecution witness, Ademu Modibo, who testified to the EFCC regarding the said Dabi property, reportedly died of COVID-19 after his statement to the commission. She added that about 32 documents, hard disks and flash drives relating to the property linked to Mr. Maina and his family and details of some of his investments in Dubai and in the US were recovered from him. Now, particularly in Dubai, investigations revealed that his company, named Northbridge Company, owned over 50 cars that were used for transportation business, and he also owns a villa in a high-end area in Dubai. His wife, Layla Abdulrasheed, also owns cleaning services called Spotless and Flawless. They also recovered payslips during the investigation. According to Ibrahim, now in his ruling, Justice Abeng upheld the prosecutor's prayer, noting that the opportunity was offered to the defendants to be in court to oppose the admissibility of the documents in evidence, but they failed to appear and also failed to engage counsel of their choice. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, has directed immediate investigations into the suit, challenging the legality of the state's Judicial Panel of Inquiry, investing those allegations against officers of the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The Force Public Relations Officer, Frank Mba, disclosed in a statement on Thursday, hours after the police filed the suit. Now, the police boss who gave the order on the heels of trending reports in the media expressed the disapproval of the Force management team on the matter and ordered investigations into the alleged role of the Force legal sector, including its head. He says the police remain committed to fulfilling all their obligations with regard to the disbandment of the defunct SARS, the ongoing proceedings of the judicial panels, and all other police reform. Meanwhile, the police have issued a query to the Force legal officer and, if found culpable, may face further sanctions of negligence of duty. It's prime time in Lagos. State of the Nation starts now. You're welcome to the show. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Now, the embattled chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Mr. Abdulrasheed Maina, has been extradited to Nigeria to face his ongoing money laundering trial days after he was arrested in Niamey, Niger Republic, after he jumped bail and was declared wanted by an Abuja High Court. The team from Interpol Nigeria, led by the Commissioner of Police Interpol, Commissioner of Police Garba Umar, having completed the necessary documentation requirements and other extradition processes, flew the wanted former pension boss into Nigeria. Mr. Umar said Mr. Maina was brought back into the country on the directive of the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu. Mr. Maina is standing trial for alleged money laundering to the tune of 2 billion naira. The trial judge, Justice Abang Okon, issued a warrant for his arrest after he jumped bail and failed to appear in court. He was said to have stopped attending his trial since September 29, 2020, prompting Justice Abeng of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to order the remand of his surety, Senator Ali Ndume, last week. Now, joining us to discuss the issues surrounding the arrest of Mr. Maina, we have Barrister Kadi Ajulo in Abuja and Mr. Aliu Dodo, who is a public affairs analyst in Lagos. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Olumide, for having me on the program. It's nice to be here once again.
Could we begin by you telling us what your reaction was when the news broke that the embattled chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Mr. Abdulrasheed Maina, who has absconded from his known address and location, had now returned to the country?
That one will sort out.
We'll begin our conversation concerning the arrest of Mr. Abdulrasheed Maina with Mr. Kadi Ajulo in Abuja. Thank you for joining us on State of the Nation today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Could we begin by asking for your reaction on the extradition of Mr. Maina from Niger to Nigeria?
Well, let me say that, when we talk about law, there are some agency of the government that ensure that they uphold the law, and that is one of the functions of the police. And police are just perform one of their statutory functions to ensure that at all times, law is not ridiculed, law is upheld, and at the same time, whosoever that is found wanting, there is no hiding place. And I think that is the significance, that is the symbolism of what happened. Minor, it has shown that nobody found wanting can have any escape route, and that is what is expected of our security agency. That at all times they should be up on their game, and nobody will, no matter how big or how powerful you are, the long arms of the law will catch up with you, and that is being demonstrated by the arrest and extradition of Maina back to Nigeria.
What do you make of the judicial processes now? Can you walk us through what the expected process will be as he's arraigned in court?
I'm sure that I believe that he has been arraigned. The simple issue is that he jumped bail, and I'm sure that the judge weighs. Anyway, it's not always as good as to predict what the court will do. But I'm very sure that even if Maina has to be given bail again, it has to be in a situation that it ensure that we be available for his trial. And I need to let us know this. The essence of bail is part of what is given to an accused person. It's part of fundamental right that if he can let the court know and can show the cause where if I'm released on bail, I will be in court. What matters about the bail is to ensure that he is always around. And now that he has been given one and he has failed, I'm sure that the court will think twice before granting another one. But if whatever may be his reason is merited, I think the court may grant bail, but I'm sure the court will think twice. Though, like I said, I won't like to predict the court.
According to the investigations, it appears he's lived quite an ostentatious lifestyle in Dubai, for instance, with properties, and in America with properties. What do you make of the entire affair?
Well, I wouldn't like to speculate about someone living an auspicious life or not. What matters most is I would want us to focus on what is presented in court, and whatsoever that is presented in court, and I'm sure the court will be right and just to go through both things. What matters most, except, is about what is being accused of, and if what is accused for, if the prosecution can bring that before the courts and can prove the case against him. Yes, the court will do the needful. It won't be about whether he lives obsequiously or not, because I know some people that live lavish, that have taken billions of naira, that when you see them, you'll be surprised that can this one even own a penny or 2 naira. I think that shouldn't be the issue. We shouldn't focus on that. We should focus on the facts, the particulars, and what the state has against Maina, and which has to be proven before the court of law, and which must be beyond reasonable doubt before the court will give the final verdict, either to set him free or to do the accordingly. Because when we talked about his living lavishly, we should ask the question: are we saying that maybe it is his family money or whatever it is? But like I said, we need not go to that. We should just, as simple as possible, focus on what is happening in court, the evidence that will be adduced for and against it, and from there, I know the court is competent enough to do justice in all cases.
Well, obviously, I expect that was brought to the fore because they were wondering how he could afford those properties and those endeavors that him and his family was involved in. But could you stay for a moment as we turn our attention to Mr. Aliyu Dodo, who is a public affairs analyst in Lagos, also on the same issue. You're welcome to State of the Nation.
Thank you very much for having me on the program.
Thank you so much for being with us. Now, to the rearrest of Mr. Abdulrasheed Maina and his extradition to Nigeria, what are your initial thoughts?
First of all, things like this has been quite unprecedented in Nigeria, whereby extradition is carried out to the letter by a criminal that is running away from the criminal justice system. But having said that, I want to give kudos to the Nigerian police for carrying out this audacious task in a very, very professional manner, and that devoid of any wranglings of high courts injunctions. They're flying up and down here and there, which is normal with Nigerian courts, judicial system. When matters like this come up, you just hear somebody filing a suit, stopping somebody from doing this, from doing that, and there and there. But in this case, nothing like that was done. The process was followed to the letter, and the extradition was carried out in the most professional way. And Maina is back in Nigeria. I want to give kudos to the Nigerian judicial system and the police for doing that perfectly well. And I believe this will serve as a deterrent to people that think they can take advantage of Nigerian judicial system and do as they please because they feel they have the money, they have the wherewithal, they can call shots and make things happen for them. So from now on, there's no place to run, no place to hide.
Obviously, he is innocent until proven guilty. What can we expect from this trial?
Well, like the barrister from Abuja rightly said, since the matter is in the competent court of jurisdiction, we won't want to preempt issues. Like you rightly said, is innocent until proven otherwise beyond its due course, and we were keen observers. We're watching. We want to see the outcome of the trial. So we want to preempt issues. The matter is still in court. Let's just watch the proceedings. The most important thing is that he has been arrested and is back in Nigeria and is going to face trial.
We'll take a short break now, and when we return on State of the Nation, we shall be changing gears to a more recent issue that concerns leadership of the police. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching State of the Nation. My two guests are still with us to discuss topical issues of the week. Barrister Kayode Ajolo is in Abuja to give us his opinions on the issues that are arising this moment. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, has launched an investigation into the origin of the suit filed by the police challenging the constitutionality of the judicial panel set up by various state governments to investigate police brutality. Now, the police management team also denied ordering or giving permission for filing such a suit. Mr. Adamu has therefore queried the legal officer of the police over the filing of the suit, according to what an official said on Thursday. Now, Mr. Ajolo, what do you make of the statement released by the police authorities denying the approval of the suits to quash the panels investigating police brutality across all states?
Well, let me quickly say this, that the statement coming from the police management denying and trying to and withdrawing the suits, should I say, is welcome development. Welcome development is that because immediately I got the news that the police filing a suit against the sitting of those panels, I was a bit embarrassed. Not only that it's only embarrassing, it is something that is goes beyond the position as set up by the presidency, because if you could recall, the decision to set up the panel is a decision between the presidency and all the state governors. And for them to have done that, that must be that the arms of government, particularly, and being that the police itself is an agent of the federal government, is more or less of pitching an agency of a government, pitching against the principal, and that is the way I see the whole thing. So that's one of the reasons one is taking advantage to say, wow, what is happening? Who is doing this? And I think it is more of a timely intervention for the Inspector General of Police to quickly recall and ask for the withdrawal of that suit. I believe it's a good development. Though
Go ahead, please.
Though the Inspector General of Police has said he's going to investigate what really happened, I believe they should just believe it's one of those slips, because I can, one way or the other, though I may not be saying with authority what transpired, but I believe the lawyer that filed that suit, I know, has acted for police several times. I think one of the first things one needs to know, not that I'm giving an excuse for the lawyer, but I believe maybe he has some understanding or agreement with the police that at all times to defend the police. There are some times that a lawyer may not have an express order to go ahead with a suit. What matters most is to do what is just. And again, you may not even know where the suit come from and who is instigating the suit. So these are the things I believe we need to really know. But again, there must be a communication gap somewhere. And I believe, as far as I'm concerned, what the take home is the Inspector General of Police has done the needful by quickly doing that, because to me it's quite embarrassing, both to the government and to the police.
And what would you say are the fears of those seeking to quash the panel?
Yes, certainly. I'm sure some people must be afraid, particularly those who themselves they've already realized that they are found wanting. There are some people, whether we like it or not, we've been saying for a long time that there are some undesirable elements in the police. We are not saying all the police are bad, but there are some undesirable elements. And for them to know that the harms of the law is closing on them, certainly they will try as much as possible to hold on to any straw. And one of such straw is to quickly rush to courts. Like they believe it's business as usual. Maybe we get to the court court will give us injunction, and we scuttle all what has been planned, a lofty idea of the government to ensure that this issue of police brutality is things of the past. I know certainly there are some people who are afraid, and like I said, the normal balance is that guilty are afraid. Guilty are afraid, and the only way to look for succors is to file some funny process. And like I said, we need not bother ourselves about that now. All we should just look at is the latest development and to say kudos to the General Police to do the needful at the right time.
And for Mr. Aliu Dodo, who we'll turn our attention to now, what will you say about the police leadership? Does it seem as if, because of this situation, they don't have a grip on their officers and men with the latest occurrence?
Well, like Barrister rightly said, it is quite unfortunate and very embarrassing on the part of the Nigerian police force for such a suit to have come out from the legal department. And the IG has done the right thing by quickly coming out to, refute deny or to disassociate themselves from the suit. But having said that, could there be any political tone? Because things like this is not something somebody can just wake up and say, I want to file a suit to stop a matter that was initiated by the federal government. Professor Yemi Oshibajo, if I can rightly recall, speaking on behalf of the Nigerian economic team, I feel, and I guess he had the blessing of the president as well, that all states should set up a judicial panel of inquiry. So police now filing a suit, it's very, very contradictory and very, very embarrassing. But I want us to look at the political undertone in this. It is not something that somebody can just wake up and say he wants to do just like that. No, there should be a political undertone, and like the IG rightly said, they're not going to leave any stone unturned to investigate to the matter, and we would like to know what actually happened. Let them make the investigation public. Let us know what happened so that this type of thing will not reoccur in the line of communication within our security forces. It's very embarrassing to the government.
When you say political undertone, you are alleging that is it possible that the Inspector General of Police will not have been aware, of the top hierarchy of the police will not be aware of such a lawsuit to stop the judicial panel?
If they are not aware, if they are not aware of the lawsuit to stop the judicial panel, the officer that filed the lawsuit, where is he taking his order from? Did he initiate it himself? Who ordered him to do it? Is he talking to people in the opposition? It could be a sabotage. Somebody could be somewhere, there could be a fifth columnist. I'm not trying to preempt the investigation that is going to the police in Ghana, but they need to investigate the matter properly. The officer that filed the suit did not just wake up and say, I want to file the suit. There were procedures he must have taken certain steps.
Yes,
it was not something that was done shrouded in secrecy. There are certain steps. Why couldn't he have been stopped before he got to the courts? Why wasn't he stopped before he got to the courts?
And that's why the query was issued and investigations have begun. Please carry on.
These are the questions we need to ask. These are the questions we need to ask. Why couldn't he have been stopped before he got to the court? Because there are certain procedures he will follow.
Okay, let me bring Mr. Kayode Ajulo back into the mix again. Mr. Ajulo, can you also, can we touch on that issue once again? That is it possible at that level in the Nigeria police that the legal officers could institute such a lawsuit without the express approval of the head of the police?
Well, that is why I said it. Though One is not trying to hold the brief for the legal department or the lawyer concerned. But I think before we can discuss anything tonight, all we need to see is to go through the agreement, or that's the engagement agreement of the council. There are times that an organization may engage you, may have a retainership with the council to say you defend us at all times. And maybe the lawyer may think that this is one of the things I need to do for Nigerian people, maybe in line with the terms and conditions of my engagement. You know, some people, they have a yearly retainership. Maybe, or another thing may be the head of legal department. I'm sure one must not be below the rank of commissioner of police, who can take initiatives, who can decide this is what I need to do. Not everything, any steps some officers, particularly senior officer, with go ahead with express permission of their boss, that is the Inspector General of Police. I think there's some discretion that could be exercised. I think these are the things we need to really look at. Filing a matter in court, not every time you have to take directive from the Inspector General of Police. Of course, there are a lot of cases being instigated, being prosecuted by the police today, that the Commissioner of Police or the Inspector General of Police is even unheard of. I want to believe this is one of the things, but as it is, the reason why we are discussing this is the fact that this is the situation, this is a case, the matter affects the generality of Nigeria. The matter is something the whole nation, particularly the presidency, the executive arm of government, sanction and want it to be. And you know, sometimes we have to be, you know, when we are doing something like this, we looked at the legal angle and we looked at the political angle, as the man rightly pointed. It is a clash between the legality and political issue. And it is now, and when it comes to that, that is when the Inspector General of Police will now look at the political implication of what I'm doing and then look at the legality. When both vis-a-vis what he's doing, that's when he can now decide what it is. But I don't want us to see it from the point that whosoever that instituted the matter, whether he has authority or not, even sometimes as a superintendent of police, sometimes we constitute a matter on behalf of police. But unfortunately, this one is embarrassing. This one is quite.
Yes, indeed. But we hope that the police put the house in order concerning this matter. Thank you so much for your time on State of the Nation today. Barrister Kayode Ajulo and Mr. Ali Dodo, who've been on the program today. That's our package. Thank you for watching. I'm Olumide Mokolo.